Hey man, what can I get you?
Yeah, can I have 2 Coors Lights?
You got it. Hey Mike! I need 2 Coors Lights!
Sure thing.
With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time. Here you go.
Thanks, Mike. Doing a great job. All right, 2 ice-cold Coors Lights.
That's the coldest beer I've ever had.
Hey, they don't call it the world's most refreshing beer for nothing.
Okay, be honest with me. Do you really have the Rocky Mountains in your beer cooler?
You don't believe it? Check it out.
Man, that's pretty amazing.
I know, right? I can't believe it myself sometimes. I mean, this cooler is only 3 feet wide.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
This is the sound of a racing heart. It's beating a little faster because it belongs to a young child. But this child isn't in the middle of a close soccer game or playing with her puppy in the yard. Her heart is racing because she's just been told she has to move foster homes again. Change a child's story. There's a child waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at casaforchildren.org.
Just like they always do, Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands continues to serve the Ohio Valley. The Lube is still open for carry-out and now offering their $10 meal deal every day of the week. Get 1 entree and 1 sidecar for just $10. Pick from steak, wings, ribs, and more. Call in or order online at thelube.com. And follow them on Facebook to stay up to date on their latest specials and promotions.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
Now it's time for Bill DeFabio on AM 1600 WKKX, The Watchdog.
Monday, Monday, so good to me. Monday morning, it was all I hoped it would be. Oh, Monday morning, couldn't guarantee that Monday evening you would still be here with me. Monday, can't trust that day. Monday, sometimes it just turns out that way. Oh, Monday morning, you gave me no warning.
Well, it's Monday afternoon, last day of the month. September right around the corner. Where'd summer go? Have we had summer in this strange year called 2020? Howdy? Who used to say that? What was her name, Lola, with the big hat? Hee-haw girl?
No.
Howdy?
I know. I can see her.
I saw her earlier this morning. I didn't write down her name. I thought I knew her.
Her hat had a price tag hanging from it.
Yeah. Was it Loretta something?
No.
Okay. Somebody will call. That used to drive me nuts. Howdy? It seemed like, I don't know if it was part of a commercial or she was on a lot of shows.
She was on a lot of shows.
Yeah, okay. Sorry to hear, and later in the show we have the voice of the Pitt Panthers and Pittsburgh Steelers, Bill Hillgrove, on, because he'll agree with me when we talk about it, the good old days of the Big East, when it was a physical league. And that physical league was led by a team that would like to bully you, the Georgetown Hoyas, whose head coach was one I'm very, very familiar with, and I'll tell that story later. John Thompson, who just passed away, he was 78. And Demetrius Gore, who was a good player back then with the Pitt Panthers, passed away at the age of 54. Gore and Thompson have something in common. Gore was playing for Pitt. John Thompson was the head coach at Georgetown, and all hell broke loose at a game at the Civic Arena involving Gore and Thompson. I want to let Bill Hillgrove tell the story. And then Thompson chewed my butt out at a All-Star game, which I think I've mentioned in the past. But he was a good coach, but he liked to bully the opponent, and nobody's going to mess with him. I mean, he was as big as a skyscraper and recognizable because of his height and the white towel that he always had on his right shoulder. He led the Hoyas to an NCAA Division I national championship over the Houston Cougars, and he became the first African-American head coach to win a major collegiate championship. Then he was a broadcaster. I thought he was a pretty good broadcaster, too. I always respected him as a coach, didn't respect his team, who was very physical, and at times they got away with a lot of cheap shots. They stopped intimidating other teams when the Pitt Panthers said at that game at the Civic Arena, which we'll talk about later, enough is enough. But those were the good old days. St. John's, Villanova, West Virginia, Pitt, Georgetown, all these great teams. At one time, there was like 7 teams from the Big East in the top 20. But of course, those days are gone because of something called greedy, money, you know. They all should be in the ACC, I think. You know, hey, why isn't West Virginia in the ACC, you know? But teams went their different ways. And, you know, Pitt's in the ACC. It's not a physical league, no. But the Big East at one time was the real deal from like 82 to about 95. You know what? All of the best basketball took place in 4 days at a place called Madison Square Garden, home of the Big East tournament. So we'll talk more about the passing of Demetrius Gore at 54 and John Thompson at 78. Meanwhile, it is time to talk about one of my teammates, not named Lola Miller, called FanDuel. You know, the NBA playoffs are here. Believe it or not, I've been watching a lot of the games. Been watching the NHL, watched 3 games yesterday. Get to watch some Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball will take the spotlight today because at 4 o'clock it's the trade deadline. But right now, new users can get special plus 2,000 odds on any team to make the NBA Finals. Just pick any team, then bet $10 for your chance to win $200 if they make it. The offer is even available on favorites like the Bucks and the Lakers, 2 teams expected to make it to the NBA Finals. The ball is in your court. It's a great line. My favorite options, and yours, easy to use. There's a good option. Deposit options, another good one. Brand that you trust. I trust them. You should trust them. There are all kinds of bets you can make. You could probably bet on the playoff hole last night, or yesterday, the PGA. Johnson and Rome, okay. Rome won in the playoffs. How about that 66-footer he hit? Wow, that was great stuff. You could bet on that. You could bet on practically anything. Promotions are always available for new and existing users. How do you join the team? Well, download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started, and be sure to sign up with promo code WKKX so they know that we sent you here at the Watchdog. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code WKKX. The tagline, FanDuel Sportsbook, more than 1, 2, or 3 ways to win. Got to be 21 plus, present in West Virginia. New users only. Must wager on designated boost market. Max bonus $200. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Visit www.1800gambler.net. And speaking of games, hey, the Pirates. How about Josh Bell? If you've ever watched a game in Milwaukee Stadium, way out in center field, they got a car. Last year, I think they had a Toyota RAV4. I don't know what they have, but there's a car sitting out there, and Josh Bell hit the car. They're figuring 465 feet. What a shot. He's hit a couple of them lately. He, along with Gregory Polanco, they had their home run close on. Bell homered. Polanco homered. By the way, he homered back-to-back home runs in his 4-game series. And the Pirates beat Milwaukee 5-1 Sunday. Tonight it's Game 4 of a 4-game series. The Pirates will try and even the score with a win. That's 2 games apiece. Trevor Williams, a hard-luck loser, 1-5, gets the start for the Pirates. In case you missed it, I watched the game. Stanley Cup playoffs, 3 games played Sunday afternoon and night. Dallas over Colorado, 5-4. Stars lead that best of 7, 3-1. Islanders over the Flyers, 3-2. I think the Flyers are cooked. The Islanders, well, they lead that best of 7, 3-1. Got to watch Marc-Andre Fleury in the Nets as his Vegas Golden Knights defeated Vancouver 5-3. The Knights lead that best of 7, 3-1. And the Penguins made some minor news. They've named Geno Malkin the team MVP in 2019 and 2020. That's 5 team MVPs from Geno. And a former decent player in the old XFL, DeAndre Tompkins. He's the newest member of the Steelers' wide receiving corps. And I watched the playoff, the ending, PGA note, playoff win for John Rahm. He edged Dustin Johnson in the BMW Championship. Okay? That's your update in case you missed it. John Thompson passed away, I think this morning at 78. Demetrius Gore, from what I understand, maybe Billy Hillgrove will tell us more, he would practice and play basketball every day, and he was chiseled. I think he was a vegan too, and he just fell over on the basketball court with a heart attack. Real young at 54. One of the best players to ever play for the Pitt Panthers when they had Jerome Lane and Charles Smith and, some of those great matchups against Georgetown. And, we'll talk about the big fight that took place at the Civic Arena in front of 17 plus a Bill DeFabio sitting right behind the Georgetown bench, wanting to jump into the fight, but I knew better. I didn't want to lose my teeth, my jaw, and my face. So Bill Hillgrove at 1:35. 12:35, we're going to talk hockey and sports and baseball with DJ Abusela, and I was in contact with him. I know it's Monday. Lola hasn't eaten lunch, so we'll have lunch for Lola and Billy D, courtesy of DJ, all right? All right, that's about it. I talked about my weekend. What, Lola?
Well, you wanted to know who said, howdy.
You're going to tell me?
Yeah,
Who?
Minnie Pearl.
Oh.
I know. I could see her. I could hear her. And all I kept thinking of was Mom's Mabley.
Yes.
But I knew I knew it wasn't her. I just
Minnie Pearl.
Minnie Pearl.
Didn't she do a lot of commercials too?
Yes, and she was a regular at the Grand Ole Opry. And I think she had a brief stint with her own show or something too. I mean, she was very, very popular.
And I saw her on Hee Haw. Yeah. I hated Hee Haw. People jumping out of the cornfields, whatever. All right, but Minnie Pearl. Yeah, I saw that this morning, didn't write down her age, and I forgot her name already, and that was like 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what made me think of her. I don't know. Oh, I know what I was doing. Looking over what celebrities look like then and now. Some of it didn't age too well, especially the kid from Rifleman, Mark, Johnny Crawford, didn't age very well at all. Paul Newman aged okay, but Minnie Pearl was on there. She looked the same 40 years ago she did whenever she was around, okay? That's what made me think of her. I do the strangest things. You know that, right, Lola? I like to look at these millionaire homes. Some of these homes, how do they live in them? They're like big hotels. Who had the $48 million home and then added to it, and it became a $98 million home with 11 bathrooms, a basketball court, swimming pool, regulation football field in the park? Oh, Will Smith. I like to look at things like that to see how the real rich spend their money, okay? And a lot of them, because I would read their bios, have donated millions to charity, so they are spending it for the good life and help somebody else's life. So did you do anything interesting over the weekend?
Ate out a lot. This is getting to be ridiculous. On Friday night we didn't, but Saturday morning we had to go to the grocery store. So I said, let's go to Sunny Boys. So we went to Sunny Boys for breakfast. Then we're at home and some show was on and they were cooking, grilling shrimp. And I said, oh man, I could really go for some grilled shrimp. I said, why don't we go to Fusion? Linda said, well, that sounds really good. But the other place we wanted to go to at the Highlands was closing at 6. So it was, I didn't want to drive all the way up there just to eat. So we went to Nana's Landing in McMecken. And the food was really good. We sat outside on the deck. The sun was, it was like 6:30, so it was still warm, and the sun was starting to go down, and everything looked so beautiful. And it turns out I know a bunch of people that work there. So we had dinner there, and it was really nice. It was really nice.
That was the Fusion at the Highlands?
Yeah, that's where we were going to go, because I had something else I had to do at the Highlands. But
I like to go there before 3 o'clock. They have great lunch specials. And I usually get there about 20 after 2, and they know exactly what I want. And in about a minute, I think the special it's like $6.99, two orders of sushi and a bowl of soup. Can't beat it. But I like the one in Washington too because I could walk from my house without having a heart attack, and it's got a bigger bar, more TV sets, so whatever. But that's one of my favorite places. Now, Sunny Boys, was there a lot of separation, like a table and then
Every other table.
Yeah, okay.
You know, and yeah, you know, so I felt, we know the girls that, most of the girls that work there, you know, because we go in there for so long. And I felt bad for them because with only half capacity, you know, they really don't, they can't afford to keep a full wait staff. So, you know, those girls were really hustling. They were really hustling. But the food there is just so good.
I bet a $20 bill covered everything plus the tip, right?
Yeah, I think it was like 17. So we had eggs and hash browns. And our concession to healthy eating was wheat toast and bacon and ham and.
How much bacon, Lola?
Huh?
How much bacon did you?
I didn't get bacon. I got the ham.
Oh, okay.
Ham was really, really good. It's
What
very
did I
sweet.
make you Friday? I forgot. Grilled cheese and ham?
A ham and cheese.
Was there enough ham there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. That was really good ham too.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not. You know, I like salty, but sometimes you know ham that's kind of sweet is just hits the spot. So
Yeah.
yeah. So, what'd you do this weekend?
Sort records, books, putting everything in categories. Then I decided Sunday, I'm tired of spending time in the basement, and on the third floor, I thought I would take Mrs. D and the oldest son out for breakfast, and we went to Cracker Barrel. Well, as soon as I pulled in the parking lot, and I said, uh-oh, it's packed. I think I got one of the last spots. No, I parked in the Mexican restaurant next to Cracker Barrel. I said, this might not be fun. So I go through the door. Oh, yeah, go up to the counter. They take my name. 35 minutes. Oh. And the girl said, you can wait outside. So we go outside. And they have tables out there and a bench. We got the last bench. I'm thinking, wow, these people are eating at the tables. We should have our food brought out to us. We'll get waited on. Then I noticed napkins, somebody scrambled eggs, wind blowing, and I said, no, I'll wait. So it was about 45 minutes. We got called to the table, and it was way in the corner by where all the cooks come out of the doorway there with their food. And it was like, I heard every conversation, and it was like another 40 minutes. So we decided to stay. I wanted to stay till like midnight, but the food was good. The girl that waited on us, Becky, she always seems to wait on us, and another girl named Jen, and they both, it was just like 10:30 in the morning. They were just both real tired, running back and forth. I felt sorry for the girl who would take the food out to the people on the porch. But, you know, it's Sunday. A lot of people like to go out, and it was good. I didn't mind the wait, so I didn't realize wooden chairs and wooden tables and benches were expensive. So they were made by the Amish because I was pricing them. I guess, well, I don't think we're going to get that one. No, we're not going to get that one. And I like shopping around in those places because they have stuff like from the 50s and 60s and jewelry and stuff. So I think we got out of there about 1. So, and I was going to go to Home Depot, but, you know, Sunday people were shopping. So I went back home and did more inventory, itemizing and stuff. So it was good. I got to come down some Saturday. Are they open on Sunday, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll come down and treat you and your sister to lunch. How's that?
At Sonny's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You give me mileage for my car?
Sure.
Oh, okay. 50 cents a mile?
Sure, Bill.
Yeah, okay.
Anything you say.
Oh, anything? Okay.
That storm Friday afternoon.
Oh.
I lost my fence again. It blew down. So yesterday I had somebody come and just tear 2 sections out, and you know they're piled up in the backyard. But it's going to come get he needed a pickup truck to take the wood. He can use that for his fire pit, you know. But yeah, again, you know that I knew that fence was going to.
What do you have to do? Get a new fence?
Well, at some point, yeah. We had additional expenses this summer that I was not in any way, shape, or form expecting. Because what we were going to do is tear the whole fence down and put chain link up. just, to keep the dog in primarily. But, now it's just that's on hold until next spring.
Well, when I left here Friday, I knew I was going to go down to a restaurant, and I knew that I was going to bring you something you like. I drove down, right? You should see, it was like flooded all the way down.
Oh, I know. It was wicked. Elm Grove got hit really bad. Down trees and flooded streets and things.
So I parked down by the offices of the newspaper and walked up, and it was like flooded sidewalks.
Yeah.
Now, I spent about a half hour, well, maybe an hour at River City, making your sandwich, and then I had some soup. They had great potato soup. And by the time I got outside, it was hardly raining, So it was weird.
Well, did you see about the rock slide on Big Wheeling Hill?
No?
Took out a car. They had to dig the woman out of her car.
Ooh.
Because the hillside came down. I know, and it's a terrible place because it's the detour for 70.
Oh.
It's the way you go. I mean, that's the way they route traffic. And I've always, like when it's raining really hard at night, I always stay in the outside lane. I never go in that because of that. You just never know when those hillsides are going to let go. So yeah, that happened, and it was quite the eventful weekend. The police boats were out on the river Saturday for some reason. And
I'm ready for more traffic problems. As soon as you get past Claysville, you see the big sign, starting September 8th, road work. But it's going to be 8 p.m. to 6 a.m., so.
Oh, well, that's not going to bother you at all.
No. And if it does, I'll go 40, whatever. I want to highlight these 4 games because we had coaches from these 4 games on Football Friday. It was Bel Air 28, River 14. What's MF? Martins Ferry 22, Shadyside 16. And it was, how about this? Steubenville travels to Cardinal Mooney, all right? Cardinal Mooney's won 7 of the last 9 games against Steubenville. Steubenville on the road with a big win over Cardinal Mooney, 40-13, and a -1 game.
Ferry and Shadyside, did you say them?
No, I have St. Clairsville and Oak Hill. Who'd we have from St. Clairsville?
Coach McLean.
Yeah, 31-19, all right? And I'll have the matchups for later in the week. Right now, DJ has brought us lunch, and he'll be talking about one of his favorite subjects, hockey. One Penguin note, Gino Malkin named the most valuable player. 5 times he's won that. You think Sidney Crosby wins it every year, right? All right, we'll talk about our favorite goaltender, Marc-Andre Fleury, who had the W. 2 of our bad teams, the Pirates, who won, by the way, and the Red Flops, who will probably trade a lot of their good players. The Red Flops won, so a lot of sports coming up, and who knows what's inside the mind of one DJ Abasella. Oh, when the Nailers may play again. They seem to change every week we talk to DJ. We'll be right back, because we're the Watchdog.
Managing your business can be a minefield. One step in the wrong direction, and it can feel like everything you've worked for is at risk. I always had a vision of building a team, a crew of true professionals that could handle it all, tax, insurance, and investments. Big enough to partner with Encova, but personal enough to protect your interests on the home front. I'm Gary, and this is the Glessner Group.
I'm Josh from Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. I hope you are staying healthy. We continue to respond to structural, fire, and water emergencies. We are combating COVID-19 with our highly trained staff and latest disinfection systems, providing preventative and reactive disinfection to facilities around the region, while working with area hospitals on isolation areas and air filtering. At Panhandle, we continue to follow social distancing and hygiene protocols. We are dedicated to our community, and together we will get through this.
Hello, I'm Wheeling Fire Chief Larry Helms. As our city and region get back to business, it's extremely important to continue the following specific health guidelines to stop the spread of COVID-19. This virus is highly contagious and is more deadly than the flu. Please wear a mask or face covering in public, wash your hands more often, socially distance yourself as much as possible, and by following these guidelines, it potentially could save.
Oh, there's something so real about living local, and I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I'm loving living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I'm loving living local.
New Belgium Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available in West Virginia and distributed locally by wine and beverage merchants. With its toasty and biscuit-like malt flavors blended perfectly with hoppy freshness, it's bound to become one of your new favorite craft beers. Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available at local retailers. Please don't drink and drive, and drink responsibly. From your friends at Wine and Beverage Merchants.
Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 want to thank the owners and contractors of the Ohio Valley for using their locally trained workers to help build for the future. Local 83 helps design, fabricate, and build the gas infrastructure for the oil and gas industry here in the Ohio Valley. Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 is 300 members strong and growing. They also do residential, commercial, and industrial work on both sides of the river. For more information, call Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 at 304-233-4445. Frio Stack and Associates Auctioneers, Realtors, Certified Appraisers specializing in antiques, business liquidations, multi-parcel land auctions. Frio Stack and Associates is a regional business offering the executor, attorney, agent, and other individuals the most comprehensive and technologically advanced auction and appraisal services available. For information on our service, call our office at 304-233-3168 or email frioauc@aol.com. Frio Stack and Associates sells the earth and everything on it.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Chris Lawrence. That's how things sounded last hour outside the governor's mansion when Governor Jim Justice pulled up to the Capitol. The governor got out of his vehicle and did speak to a group of high school football sports enthusiasts asking for changes in a controversial color-coded map that as of now will block 4 counties from playing high school football this coming Friday night.
All weekend long, I think you're going to be very, very happy with what comes out. But just trust me.
Those demonstrators included fans, players, and coaches from teams who will not be allowed to play this Friday. Under the map, those are Logan, Kanawha, Fayette, and Monroe counties. As you heard there, Governor Jim Justice got out and spoke to the crowd who was still dissatisfied with what he had to say. The governor due to speak during his COVID-19 briefing at 12:30 today. We'll have that live at WVMetroNews.com. In other news this afternoon, Lewis County authorities say a weekend fire fatality was suspicious. That blaze destroyed a vacant home on Main Street in Jane Lou's Saturday, and a person was found dead inside once the flames were out. Investigators now believe that fire was a result of arson. The name of the victim has not been released. There are reports of flash flooding this hour in Fayette County. High water has caused an upgrade in the Weather Service forecast from a watch to a flood warning. Most of the mountain counties in West Virginia are under a flood watch through tonight, with the forecast calling for 2 to 3 inches of rain. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. A search of the Elk River in Clay County has been suspended after authorities determined it's not clear if the person they were looking for on Sunday is even there. Authorities were called out Sunday afternoon to find a missing 12-year-old who was apparently kayaking on the river. The call indicated the discovery of an empty kayak that belonged to the child, but after several hours of searching, authorities say there's been no missing persons report filed on the boy and no evidence that he was ever in the river. Heavy rain has also made a river search much more dangerous. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Chris Lawrence.
You're listening to the Watchdog, now on FM at 97.7 and 98.1. Sounds so clear. Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson were just discussing it.
Are we clear? Yes, sir. Are we clear? Crystal.
The Watchdog, live and local talk radio, just the way you like it.
About 17, he's going strong, playing my favorite song, and I could tell it wouldn't be long that he was with me, yeah me, and I could tell it wouldn't be long that he was with me, yeah me, singing, I love rock and roll, so what you got time in the jukebox, baby, I love rock and roll, so come and take your time and dance with me.
And welcome back to 60 Minutes with DJ Abasella. Dan Rather and Walter Cronkite couldn't be with us on 60 Minutes. You get that?
I got it.
60 Minutes?
Here we go.
How's everything?
Everything's good.
Well, your local high school football team won 22-16 over
They
Shadyside.
did. What a goofy weekend, too, with the weather on Friday.
I don't know. Lola, was the St. Clairsville game like suspended then played Saturday? They had so much rain, I think.
I'm not sure. There was one that it was suspended, and then they came back really late at night, I think, and played. But I'm not sure which game it was.
Biff was trying to explain that to me. I think he went out to lunch.
Yeah, I heard there was one that got finished maybe at like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. I know the Ferry game, they started it Friday. They got to about 5 minutes left in the first quarter, and then they suspended it and picked it up at Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
So I know that's how that happened. We had a volleyball game Saturday morning, and that's all they were talking about.
Well, the one coach we had, he was on the field trying to get it ready. The St. Clairsville coach, yeah. And, that's then the downpour and everything, so whatever. But it was a crazy Friday, crazy Saturday. And, when I get the Sunday paper, I read the Intelligencer on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
But they don't really have a paper
Ah.
because it's delivered Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Same with my paper in Washington. It's owned by the same guy that owns the Pirates and about 50,000 newspapers, whatever, not Mr. Nutty. So I don't like that because games are played on, what's going to happen for college football on Saturday, right? You got to wait till Monday to read about it?
Right.
Because not everybody, old people included, they don't read anything online. You don't get the full story online,
What's the status of the fields around here? Like, I haven't really dove into a lot with high school. Now, volleyball is probably the one that I've done the most with, but, like, are we a lot of turf? I know Martins Ferry is a turf field. Is there a lot of turf, or is it a pretty good mix of turf and grass? Like, what are we looking at for
I think there's
this
a mixture
area?
of everything.
Is there? Okay.
There, sooner or later, it's got to be natural.
Yeah.
Hell, they got a new field in Shadyside,
Right.
Yeah.
Back in Maine, there was maybe 2 turf fields. Everybody was like, "Oh, we're playing on the turf today." It was a big
It was a big deal,
It
yeah.
was a big to-do,
Let me think. Wash High, I'm thinking of my schools in my backyard. Trinity, new field. New turf at Wash High. And W&J has had that, like our Astrodome turf
Yeah.
for about 10 years.
We got turf at my school after I graduated, maybe like 3-ish years after I graduated. They got the turf in.
And compared to 15 years ago, it's pretty cheap now to redo your field, AstroTurf or whatever.
And at this rate, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
1, you don't have to care for it as much. 2, it doesn't get shredded. Like, I remember, like, obviously, we're a football and a soccer school, so different parts of the field. If it's football, the middle of it's getting, torn to shreds. And for soccer, the area near the box is getting torn to shreds. So it's, it's tough to maintain that stuff.
Now, when your girl who plays volleyball, when she plays,
Yeah.
what kind of separation is there? Like on the sidelines? And
Yeah, it's kind of like the NBA setup where all the chairs are separated. So it's like 2 rows of 6, and there's a gap between each chair.
okay, where's the PA announcer you sit?
Scorer's table. Usually,
You have to all wear masks?
yes. I can take it down when I announce, though. So that's convenient. But yeah, what I do is I start there, and then for the JV game, which she plays, I track the libero. So I have to track when they go in and out. The coach asked me, like, while you're here, can you do this? Sure, why not? No problem. And then varsity, I was line judge on Saturday.
You a judge?
Yeah. They like it when I do it, actually, because I'm very animated, in case you couldn't figure that one out.
Yeah. Do you get loud?
If there's one that's really close, I will yell the call, whether it's in or out. But the flag looks like a sword sometimes, so yeah, I use it. I just, whew.
And you volunteer for that, huh?
Yeah, it's fun. It keeps you involved, right? I enjoy it.
How many fans they let in?
4 family members per kid on the home team, 2 for the road team. Seems to work out well so far.
Now, a lot of the football teams, I know back in my hometown, there are very few teams playing more than 6 games. Same with around here.
Yeah,
How many volleyball games is your daughter playing, or the varsity?
19.
Wow. Is that because it's indoors?
I don't know what the reasoning is. They're just going with what schedule they had and ready, set, go.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so that's worked out. I mean, it's worked out pretty well so far. It sounds like the football, I think they had a similar scenario with their admission over the weekend. I don't know 100%, but knock on wood, so far so good. It's working smoothly. You walk in, they have the temperature check people there, so everybody, players, coaches, fans, they all get temperature checked, and then you have to tell them at the table which student that you're there for, and then they check you off. And if you're the home person, you can't exceed 4, and if you're the road person, you can't exceed 2. So it works out pretty smoothly so far.
All right, things seem to be smooth in the Stanley Cup playoffs. We have 4 teams that have 3-1 leads.
Yes.
Do you see any of the 4 teams that just have 1 win coming back to win the series?
No, I don't. You want to go one by one on this one?
Yeah.
All right.
You start with the Islanders and Philly.
Start with the Islanders and Philly. If there's one out of the 4 that I would tell you would have the best chance of coming back, I would probably say Philadelphia, just because of how talented they are. Not because of the Islanders, because I think the Islanders have been just terrific. And it's funny because the Islanders were slumping in the end of the regular season before we got to the bubble. And you just see how the playoffs is just a completely different animal in the way that teams play. And it's like the Islanders are built for playoffs, where it's just get in and they play so hard. Defensively, they've been rock solid. Last night being an exception, which last night was one of the games where I just was like, okay, yep. The Islanders played their worst defensive game in the entire bubble, right? 38 shots on goal by the Flyers. Only the second time in the entire playoffs that the Islanders have given up 30 shots in a game. And they still win with their backup goalie, Thomas Greiss, playing the game.
Former Penguin, right?
Yes. So if you're the Islanders right now, you just played your worst game in front of your backup goalie, and you still won? You're probably figuring that you're in pretty good shape. So I like what they've done.
Did Greiss play for the Nailers?
He did not. He was originally a Sharks prospect.
Oh, okay.
So he played in your favorite Massachusetts city of Worcester on his way up to the show.
Worcester.
Yep.
I did not, when I went to Boston, say Worcester, which some people do.
Yes.
You know, I think Worcester, isn't that steak sauce?
Worcestershire, yeah.
Worcestershire, yeah, whatever. And then Shrewsbury was pretty easy to remember, too.
There you go.
They're both, a couple of miles away?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
But I thought the Islanders have been fantastic. They've really, with Barry Trotz leading the way, a guy who knows what he's doing, they've really played strong playoff hockey. They've played very smart.
Okay. Your Boston Bruins, I no longer like them.
Wow, man.
They started off well.
They started off well.
You know, they sweep Carolina, right?
Yep.
They look good. That number 1 line, Marchand, Patrice, what's his name?
Bergeron.
And
Pasta.
Tuukka-Rask. Would Tuukka-Rask help them at all?
To a point, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems like Halak has given up a leaky goal pretty much every game. You look at it and you're just like, boy, you'd like to see him be sharper in there. At the same time, so I think Carolina was a good matchup for them because Carolina is just based on speed, and they are not like the Islanders have speed, but Carolina's missing that toughness defense X factor that the Islanders have. And like I looked at Mrazek too during the series. I've always kind of liked Mrazek, but I've watched him in that series now 2 years in a row against Boston, and he moves too much. Like he overcompensates a lot, especially when he slides. So if you wait him out enough, you can beat him. Like he's not as elite as some of the other goalies that are still left, and I think that's what hurt Carolina. But you take Tampa Bay now, which this could be the second time in 3 years that Tampa knocks Boston out, because they did 2 years ago too. Start out with Vasilevsky in goal. He's one of the best. He's in contention for the Vezina again. They have Victor Hedman on defense, who is huge, both offensively and defensively. Offensively, their power play is very, very hard to stop. Like everybody talks about Boston and how good they are and how efficient and how quick they move the puck, but Tampa is that much better with Kucherov, Tyler Johnson. They're doing this all without Stamkos too.
Yeah, what's wrong with him?
He's hurt. He left the bubble. He's done for the playoffs.
Wow.
They're just so well-oiled that they've gotten the upper hand. And I think, like we said, you know, does Rask not being there make a difference? When you're going up against a Vezina guy in Vasilevsky, yeah, I think definitely it's given Tampa Bay a big-time advantage.
And it seems like they're a little bit more physical than the Bees.
Yes, and that's something I said. I don't think Carolina had that, so I think that's why Boston was able to drive past Carolina pretty easily. Carolina wasn't quote-unquote hard to play against. Tampa's a lot harder to play against. Like That Cedric Paquette's a pain in the neck.
What's the guy, Point?
Braden Point, yeah. How did I forget to mention Braden Point when I was talking about Kucherov? That guy's been Mr. Clutch all playoffs.
Oh, and he kills the Bruins. Yeah.
They don't lose in overtime either. They've won like 4 overtime games in the bubble. They don't lose in overtime. It's unbelievable.
Maybe this is the year of the Lightning. All right.
It would set up quite the conference final between Tampa and the Islanders. Funny, you and I were talking a little bit about it on the phone. With Trotz coaching the Islanders, the path that he would have to go through, obviously he started against his former team, Washington, 1 win away from Philly, but then it could potentially line up the same way, conference final and final, when he was coaching the Caps. Tampa in the conference final, and maybe Vegas comes out of the West for the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, as it stands, I wouldn't mind Islanders and Vegas. You got what's Vegas going to do when they got a good number 1 goaltender, and they still have a pretty good Marc-Andre Fleury? Can they keep both of them?
I don't know. I mean, with what they've been able to do organizationally and with salary cap numbers, possibly. I mean, Robin Leonard's 29 right now. That's a great scenario for a number 1 goaltender. That's pretty much the age you want. And then Fleury seems to be, despite what his agent did, and I'm getting tired of them constantly putting that up there on the broadcast.
Yeah, that's enough. One day of his agent opening his mouth is enough.
Yeah, we don't need to keep on pumping that guy's tires and keep on showing him on national television enough. But, I mean, that team, yeah, they had a little bump in the road in Game 2 against Vancouver, but the last 2, they've looked terrific. Fleury had some really strong moments last night, and I thought he had a couple goals that he might have wanted to have back. But other than that, I mean, Vegas just looks phenomenal in that series with Vancouver. Really fun team to watch. Physical. Alex Tuck has become a really big player for them in the playoffs, who's a Minnesota Wild cast-off. They've got it. I love Shea Theodore, too, who was an Anaheim guy on the blue line. He's been tremendous. I've always had a soft spot for Marchessault because I like him, former Florida Panther. I like Vegas. They're good. They're fun.
Could the underdog team be Dallas when we get to the Final Four?
Boy, have they come along,
Can you name me 4 or 5 stars on a Dallas? What is it?
It's kind of funny to think about, too, because, like, when was the last time Dallas was really relevant? Mike Modano.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Dallas really hasn't. You've seen, like, Chicago had their dominant era. L.A. won a couple cups. You had a few, one-time wonders. Anaheim went. San Jose went. Nashville went.
When did they win the Stanley Cup? 10 years ago? 14 years ago?
Who, Dallas?
Yeah.
Dallas won. It was the Brett Hull skate in the crease game.
Against Buffalo?
Yep, 2000. Nope, 99. 99 was
2099. Whoa, we're that far ahead.
It was 99. It was 99 because the Avalanche won with Bork in 01, and they beat the Devils, who had won the year before, and then Dallas had won the year before
Could that be Cinderella?
I mean, so first of all, for players, Tyler Seguin and Jamie Benn are the 2 most recognizable. Seguin, of course, a former number 2 draft pick of the Bruins, which they got for the Phil Kessel trade. Some of the lesser knowns, Carl Klingberg is a great defenseman. John Klingberg. Sorry, wrong Klingberg, brother. John's the defenseman for Dallas. He's a phenomenal offensive defenseman. They have a younger player, and his name is on the tip of my tongue, Guryanov, who is one of the top 5 in goals in the playoffs. Who is he? Well, he was playing in the American Hockey League last year. So the fact that he's come onto the scene and just took off like a rocket for Dallas is phenomenal. What surprised me the most with Dallas is their goaltending, because Ben Bishop has been hurt most of the playoffs. So they're in a Boston scenario where they're riding the backup, Anton Hudobin, who somehow has gotten them to within 1 win of the conference finals, which is downright amazing. But you look at what's made Dallas successful against Colorado. Of course, Colorado's also missing their starting goalie in Grubauer, and Francouz has not been anywhere near what Grubauer is. But Dallas has scored 19 goals in the 4 games against the Avalanche, and that's what ultimately catapulted them past Calgary as well. Dallas also, similar to the Islanders, similar to Vegas, similar to Tampa, all the teams that have leads right now that are left play hard. Like, you look at Colorado, okay, they've got McKinnon, Landeskog, Rantanen, all these skill guys. But when Dallas starts pushing them around, Colorado's like, we really don't want any part of this. And I think that's given Dallas that little bit of a leg up in that series. But, I mean, if they go up against Vegas in the conference final, I don't know, because Vegas can push back too. They've got Ryan Reeves sitting there like, bring it on, guys, let's go.
Yeah. That's it. So, the conference finals will be pretty good, too.
I think so.
Dallas and Vegas, and then the Islanders and
Tampa.
So the Final Four might be better than the Final Two.
I don't know. The Final Two is going to be a good one no matter how you slice it. I would think Vegas would have the upper hand out of the West over Dallas, even though Dallas is kind of riding with the house's money right now. But that East series, gosh, I don't know. Because they can both, it's funny. When you look at how people view them, everybody looks at Tampa as this high-flying team, and everybody looks at the Islanders as this boring defensive team. But, oh, by the way, they both can do both. Tampa Bay can defend, and the Islanders have speed and scoring. So that's a tough one. I don't know if that one I would probably say would go a distance.
In this Final Eight, do we have any ex-Nailers playing?
Yes, you have Kunakl for the Islanders, and you have Quinney for the Golden Knights. Quinney hasn't gotten into a game yet, but he's there. He's in the bubble.
Quinney?
Gage Quinney. He's the first ever Las Vegas native, first ever Nevada native to play in the NHL. And he's playing for his hometown team. So he hasn't played in a playoff game yet. He played 3 regular season games, but he is in the bubble. And then we have, both of those 2 teams as well have former Nailer broadcasters. Dave Gosher with Golden Knights and Brendan Burke with the Islanders.
Okay, all right.
So
why'd I have Dave on one time?
Could have been a multitude of reasons. He was with the Bruins when they played the Penguins in the 13 conference final.
Oh, could have been 2 years ago when Vegas played the Capitals in the Stanley Cup?
That could have been as well.
Yeah.
Or their first ever trip to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. We had a nice conversation about you, but
Yeah, so from a Nailers perspective, Golden Knights and Islanders would be wonderful. If the Islanders win it, then Kunakl becomes the first ever former Nailer to win 3.
3 Stanley Cups?
Yeah, because he had 2 at Pittsburgh.
Who'd Pittsburgh give up for him?
They didn't. He was a free agent.
Free agent, okay.
He walked.
That's the guy from Germany, right?
Yes.
Okay. It's a great name, Kunakl.
Yes.
Yeah. To go along with us knuckleheads, right?
Clark Donatelli, a big reason for getting Cooney where he is now.
Yeah.
What he did here, he was, so like you said, he was from Germany. He played for Windsor in the OHL, and he was a draft pick. He was a big scorer, but in order to get up in the levels, he had to learn how to play a good overall game. And Clarkie's like, you're going to have to learn to block shots, kill penalties, win faceoffs. And I'll never forget, we were playing in the 14 playoffs in Greenville, and he was blocking shots to win a game for us. And it was like that sacrifice. Pittsburgh saw it, and ultimately that's what got him to move up the levels, not just being a flashy scorer. So that was his development here was so much fun to watch.
You know what's great? With all these sports teams playing, even though they're in a bubble, outside a bubble, playing in baseball in front of empty seats, sports is back. And you know what? With the NBA playoffs are here, FanDuel Sportsbook has a slam dunk offer you won't want to miss. You like that line?
I like the slam dunk line.
Right now, new users can get special plus 2,000 odds against any team to make the NBA Finals. We know that DJ would bet the Celtics, right?
That'd be nice.
So you pick any team, just place $10. You got that in your wallet, don't you?
I do now.
For your chance to win $200. That's because I just gave him $10. This offer is even available in favorites like the Bucks and the Lakers. Everybody expects those 2 teams to make the playoffs. So here's another great line. You ready?
I'm ready.
The ball's in your court.
There you go.
There are favorite options. I like them all. I'm just going to give you a few. Easy to use, deposit options, brand you trust, types of bets, and many, many promotions. Here's all you got to do to join the FanDuel Sportsback book AMP. Read it right to Fabio. Get started. Sign up with promo code WKKX so they know that we sent you. Then FanDuel Sportsbook promo code WKKX. Now here's the tagline. FanDuel Sportsbook, more than one way to win. And here's a disclaimer I must read. 21 plus, present in West Virginia, new users only, must wager on designated Boost Market. Max bonus $200. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Visit www.1800gambler.net. All right, we're going to take a break. You feel like talking some baseball with those
talk some baseball.
Slumping Pirates?
Sure.
And our Red Flops?
Yes.
By the way, a couple of more wins by the Pirates, a couple of more losses by our Red Flops. and they'll be the worst team in baseball.
We got the trade deadline today, too, I believe.
There's going to be a lot of them made. We'll see what our Red Flops do in the Buckeyes.
Yeah.
I think
we'll talk in the second segment because it's very, I'm surprised at kind of the separation of good and bad right now, especially in the American League.
Yeah, especially in the American League with a team that's a small market.
Yeah.
Tampa, give me a break. Oakland, give me a break.
Tampa, Cleveland, Oakland, your three division leaders.
Yeah, there you go. We'll talk about that as we take a break, and we are the Watchdog.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
From ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. Finger pointing. President Trump and local leaders in Portland accusing each other of inciting violence in the city, leading to a deadly shooting. ABC's Kanda Whitworth is there.
Portland's mayor blasting President Trump after a weekend of violent clashes in his city and the death of a right-wing supporter.
Do you seriously wonder, Mr. President, why this is the first time in decades that America has seen this level of violence? It's you.
The president firing back on Twitter, calling the mayor weak and pathetic.
The Trump campaign today continuing to push incorrectly that Democratic challenger Joe Biden wants to defund the police and that the former vice president has not condemned violent protesters, which he is expected to do today during a rare public appearance in Pittsburgh. New guidelines for police discipline announced today in the nation's largest city.
For decades, the system for disciplining errant police officers in the NYPD was inconsistent and secretive. Mayor Bill de Blasio wanted to change that.
We want it to be clear that when certain actions are taken and certain mistakes are made, that there will be accountability.
New guidelines standardize punishment for everything from use of a chokehold and wrongful use of deadly force to drunk driving and domestic violence. The police commissioner would still have final say over severity and duration of punishment. Aaron Katursky, ABC News, New York.
The D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals denying an effort by former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn and the Justice Department to force a district judge to dismiss his criminal case. The coronavirus pandemic once again impacting sports. This time it's the U.S. Open taking place in New York.
The first Grand Slam tennis event since this pandemic started is scheduled to begin here today. And even with all the strict safety guidelines, a player has now tested positive. It's a delicate balance that sporting events, businesses, and schools are juggling as they try to start going back to normal.
That's ABC's Eva Pilgrim. You're listening to ABC News.
Third floor study hall. My dining room table. Homeroom Monday and Tuesday. My living room Wednesday to Friday.
Wherever school happens for you this year, Staples has amazing prices on everything you need. From lap desks to computers, desk chairs to UV sanitizers. This week at Staples, a 2-pack of Elmer's glue sticks, a 24-pack of Crayola crayons, and comp books are just 50 cents each. Shop in-store, pick up curbside, or order online. School on, save on. Staples. Ends 9/5 while supplies last. Limit 30. Limits vary online. Curbside available in most stores.
At CDW, we get modern servers need to be flexible.
Flexible, scalable, and predictable. I predicted you'd say that.
Okay, what would I say next?
Probably something about server security.
Impressive and freaky. CDW can implement secure Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Gen 10 servers that improve speed and performance while reducing
costs. See, predictable.
IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it.
I predict a web address.
CDW.com/HPE.
I'm in your mind, man.
Legendary Georgetown coach John Thompson Jr. has died. Thompson was the first black head coach to win an NCAA championship. More from ESPN's Jay Billis.
He was just a tremendous coach on and off the floor and never got enough credit. In the 1980s, he almost went to the Final Four in 1980 and in fact lost to Iowa 81-80, I think the score was, in the Elite Eight. And Lute Olson went to his first Final Four, and we lost Lute Olson a few days ago. So a very, very difficult week for college basketball.
John Thompson Jr. was 78. As airlines try to find ways to attract passengers, one carrier is making a big change.
United announcing it's getting rid of all change fees for good. It's permanently nixing change fees, which were around $200 to change a flight. And beginning next year, United customers can fly standby for free on a different flight on the same day of a booked ticket. They're policies that airlines like Southwest have long had in place, but the legacy carriers have had hefty fees for changes. United executives saying they realize they have to be flexible right now. It comes as the airlines are warning October could bring tens of thousands of layoffs because so few people are flying right now. Alex Stone, ABC News.
A flying car has passed a big test in Japan. Battery-powered car circled a field for about 4 minutes with a pilot on board. A startup company hopes to get the car on the market by 2023. This is ABC News.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking a new language in a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical conversations that you will actually use. Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just text radio to 64,000. That's RADIO to 64,000.
Dave Packer, ABC News.
New Belgium Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available in West Virginia and distributed locally by wine and beverage merchants. With its toasty and biscuit-like malt flavors blended perfectly with hoppy freshness, it's bound to become one of your new favorite craft beers. Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available at local retailers. Please don't drink and drive and drink responsibly. From your friends at Wine and Beverage Merchant.
Wheeling Coin and Hobby on 10th Street in Wheeling, next to the Bridge Tavern in downtown Wheeling, wants to buy any and all unwanted gold and silver jewelry. They are paying top dollar for 10, 14, 18, and 22 karat gold plus 925 sterling silver. They also want to buy collectible coins and paper money from before 1933. Wheeling Coin and Hobby is open daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Saturday. Coin and Hobby, 304-232-8430, and add them on Facebook.
West Virginia 211 makes a difference in the lives of thousands of West Virginians every year. Do you need help paying utility bills, finding housing, buying food, accessing job training, navigating veteran services, or dealing with an emergency or crisis? Call West Virginia 211 today to speak with one of our specialists. We'll make sure that you've got a plan and put you in touch with the right resources. Dial 211. West Virginia 211 is a program of the United Ways of West Virginia.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the storm tracker, Darnell Foster. Well, look at your local weather forecast for your start to the work week. Under mostly cloudy skies, a widely scattered shower in the forecast. Highs near 76. Overnight low of 63 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Clouds, a little bit of sunshine around for your Tuesday. Highs should return into the mid-80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
Now it's time for Bill DeFabio on AM 1600 WKKX, The Watchdog.
Well, less than 3 hours. That's the trade deadline today in Major League Baseball, 4 o'clock. I think a lot of teams will be active, especially the Pirates and our Red Sox. And you know what's startling is we talk a little bit about baseball. You ready?
I'm ready.
16 wins, 16 losses. 5 games they've won in a row, the Tigers.
Yeah.
Are they in the playoffs if they started today?
No, they're first one out.
Oh, okay.
They'd be 9 in the American League. But yeah, their young talent's starting to come together. This could be a year that's really good for the building process in Detroit.
Yeah. Hold on. Okay. All right. Shut that off. I tell people who are relatives and friends, I'm on the air. There you go. Relatives and friends when I work and they still call. You know? They're not like in the time like me and you.
No.
You know, you can't be late, I can't be late, or whatever.
I just text. If I know somebody's busy, I'll throw a text their way if it's important.
Yeah, I was surprised to see a team like Detroit. Watch them sneak in.
Yeah, I know. And it's wild. Like we were talking a little bit before the break, too. The separation in the American League between contenders and pretenders. Like American League, I think you'll probably see a lot of moves today just because of that separation where literally the Tigers are sitting there at 16 and 16. They're the 9. So everybody else, the top 8 is all 500 or better.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore is in the 4s for their winning percentage, 400 something. The others are all 300 something or below. Like it's so feast or famine where pretty much, and you could even take Baltimore and go, yeah, they're probably not going to do anything. So you have Detroit in the 8 up top where they're legit in the conversation, and you have the other 6 where it's like, no, you're not going to make all that ground up in a month.
Who's the top team
You're
in the
out.
American League? Tampa?
Tampa, yeah. And you kind of could see it coming. This is what Tampa does every few years. They're a very good recycle team where they will, or a very cyclical team, I should say, where they will have their bad years where they'll lose 90 to 100 games, but they will immediately get to work in building up with prospects in their system. They're not going to go spend money. We know that. It's Tampa Bay Rays. They don't do that, but they will make themselves contenders. And you saw 2 years ago, they missed the playoffs, but they were a 90-win team. Last year they got in, and now this year they're ready to take that next step forward, and they're division leaders because the Yankees slumped over the last week or so. They ended up losing 7 in a row, and they're right now neck and neck battling for second with Toronto, who they're now coming because their young players, the Guerrero Juniors, the Biggios, the Bichettes, are all big-time contributors on their big league team. Plus, they went out this offseason. They got Hyunjin Ryu from the Dodgers to bolster their pitching staff, so Toronto got a lot better. So they're now in that conversation as well.
Yeah, all those kids you mentioned?
Yeah.
I interviewed their dads.
I believe it.
That makes me feel real old, you know? That's unbelievable. And they're all on the same team, it seems.
The scary thing was I watched Guerrero, the dad, play in the minors. He played against Portland. He was with Harrisburg when he came up through the Eastern League.
Wow.
Yeah. They beat Portland in the championship a couple of years in the 90s. So, yeah, seeing Guerrero and now, your son's playing? Like, oh, you're kidding.
And how about this matchup in New York tonight? Tampa and the Yankees. Tyler Glasnow pitching for Tampa.
Yes.
Garrett Cole for New York. Both of them used to be Pirates.
Yeah, exactly. How about that? Tampa's got a good chance to really put some distance between them and the Yankees for first place in the East.
No, the Yankees have an excuse. They've had 9 starters on IR.
Yeah, they run into injury problems now every year.
Are we ever going to see a healthy Judge? You know?
I don't know.
I mean, Aaron Judge, the ball player.
Right.
Yeah, he's always been hurt, and he's up for this year. Wonder what he's going to get. Wow.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
And then, even though they just had a COVID incident, you have Oakland just doing Oakland things in the West.
Yeah.
They're another one. Every few years, Oakland just kind of pops into the picture and is like, hey, we're going to make the playoffs this year if that's cool with everybody. We're not going to use any big-name guys. We're just going to play.
What's their nickname? Bean is their general manager.
Billy Bean?
Billy Beanball. Beanball.
Yeah, Moneyball.
Moneyball, there you go.
Yep.
That was a good movie. Who played him?
Ooh,
Brad Pitt. Brad
that's
Pitt?
it, yep.
Brad Pitt, yeah. Seemed like a strange role for him, especially when he played one of those gladiators or whatever. I don't know. With a horse coming in. What movie was that, Lola? The Trojan horse coming in? Troy.
Yeah.
Troy.
I guess. Yeah.
I think Tampa and Oakland crack me up the most because they never go out and get good players. And let's be honest here. with the dumps that they both play in, if you were a good player, why on earth would you want to sign
Well, Tampa's
with
building
those
a new
teams?
stadium, right?
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Taxpayers' money.
Oh, perfect.
Nobody goes to see them play, but they're going to a new stadium.
Nobody goes to see either Tampa or Oakland play because they both play in, you know,
Dumps.
garbage disposals.
Oakland, Alameda, whatever they call it, stadium.
The county
is
stadium.
The worst ever.
Oh, and the Trop in Tampa is man.
It's a dump.
Like, why would you ever want to play? And yet, every few years, here they are. Like, they're in contention. It's like, how do you guys
How's the
do
indoor
this?
arena for the Lightning? I've been.
Oh, it's
there.
awesome.
Yeah,
I haven't been there either, but I've heard it's phenomenal. Their game ops are off the charts. Like, aside from Vegas, probably the best game ops in the NHL.
Yeah.
Like, they put on a show in Tampa Bay.
The week I spent for Super Bowl there. What Super Bowl was that? When James Harrison had the 100-yard interception. Matter of fact, I got there a couple days early, checked in. It was a Saturday. It was on a Tuesday, not a media day, that I went to the sports bar. And guess who waved at me?
Who's that?
Your manager of the Arizona team.
Rick Tocchet.
Yeah, he waved. I didn't recognize him because he had his head shaved.
Ah.
And at that time, he was the head coach of the Lightning. And it was a sports bar. And I couldn't pay for anything. And we talked about the baseball field being awful.
Yes.
He says, it's so bad, I remember saying, we don't even go there.
So that would have been around when Stamkos was just starting, because
Just starting.
Tocchet took over for Melrose in Stamkos' rookie year.
Yep, I forgot Melrose. He wasn't a good coach, was he?
No, that's why he only lasted like 15 games and they sent him out of town.
Wasn't he with the Kings, too?
Yes.
Yeah.
He took the Kings to the finals with Gretzky in '93, lost to the
Well, I
Canadiens.
could take him. Lola could take him with the finals with Gretzky, but they didn't win, did they?
No. They lost in 5 to Montreal.
And, you know, a lot of people came in. Tocchet was real nice. I think he just wanted to be, like, left alone. And we talked for about 2 or 3 hours, you know. But I felt bad I didn't recognize him. We talked about some of those good Penguin teams and so on. But that was cool stuff. And he made a phone call. And George Von Banco, who's a guest on this station, we've covered a lot of games together. I said, can you get us 2 together? And he said, yeah, not bad. We sat right behind his bench.
That's awesome.
It was so. You should hear the language. I never knew players until I was that close. Every other word's like words I can't use on the radio, especially at the umpires.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. And Tocchet's done well in Arizona, hasn't he?
Yes. He's made that team. He's built them up. I mean, they were a laughingstock 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
And they beat Nashville in the qualifying round this year.
Well, they got Kessel, and who's the other guy from New Jersey?
Taylor Hall.
Yeah. And they did okay.
Oliver Ekman Larson.
They have any goaltending?
Darcy Kemper has kind of come off the map a little bit to be their number one.
So,
but back to baseball. So I think the American League today, I mean, I think your contenders are going to try and load up, and your non-contenders are just going to sell the farm, like Boston already has with getting rid of 2 pitchers and then Moreland yesterday. But then I look at the National League, and I kind of go, bleh. There's only 5 teams in the National League, 500 or better.
Yeah.
The Braves, the Cubs, and then 3 in the West. The Dodgers, the Padres, and then the Rockies are right at 500.
I'm rooting for the Padres.
Boy, are they fun to watch, huh?
They are.
Holy smokes. And another team, just like Tampa and Oakland, what's the theme of today with the good teams? They built from within.
Yeah.
Now, I will give San Diego credit, though. They did spend. They went out and got Machado. And people, when Machado first signed with the Padres, were probably like, oh, yeah, they'll be good in, 10 years? They won't be anything.
Yeah, he'll be an old
but
man.
Maybe he saw something. And, I mean, Fernando Tatis Jr., whoa. You talk about a prospect that's turned into a stud at the big league level. Yeah.
And
he's
they're so
a real
young.
deal. Yes.
With all the sons of famous fathers.
They've done well with their pitching. They even, I mean, for another veteran, too, in addition to Machado, they have Eric Hosmer, who won a World Series as Kansas City's first baseman.
No, I don't know the manager. Who's the manager?
Ooh, good question. Padres manager. We're going to have to open up the MLB app.
I think it's a young guy.
Yeah, he was in Texas because that was the whole deal when Tatis swung at the 3-0 pitch and got screamed at because the manager was a former Texas. Jace Tingler.
Tingler?
Tingler.
That was a Vincent Price movie, The Tingler. Yeah, okay.
Jace Tingler.
Yeah, he should be manager of the year. Isn't there some Red Sox influence there too, in management?
I think so. There's their development coach is Ryan Flaherty, who went to Deering High School in Portland, Maine.
And you know him?
I do.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was a PA announcer when he was playing for Deering when I was at Scarborough.
You want to drop any other names while we're here? Okay.
Well, Rod Barajas, I don't know him, but he's a former Pirate, right? He's their catching coach.
Yeah, okay. I want to go to hockey for 1 second. By the way, Lola, were you listening? The Tigers, 16-16, maybe a game or two out of playoffs. Wouldn't that be something? That would grab her. That would grab. That would grab her attention. That would grab her attention. You know,
they've come up. They've put themselves on the radar, and then the White Sox and the Blue Jays have started to put themselves on the radar.
The White Sox are fun to watch.
They're
they
a fun
hit a
team
lot
too.
of home runs.
And then Giolito had the no-hitter against the Pirates the other week.
Yeah. Giolito, I thought that was Italian Jello. What is that called? Gelato?
The Pirates then had Giolito legs in that game.
One base runner, right?
Something like that.
13, 14 strikeouts?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. And did you watch Josh Bell's home run?
I did not.
That hit the car out in center field?
Oh, wow.
In Milwaukee, yeah. About 465 feet.
Why are they playing well against Milwaukee? What's the deal there?
I have no idea.
They usually stink against Milwaukee. What's gotten into them with the Milwaukee thing this year? It's the
I don't
only
know.
team they can beat.
I don't know what's brewing with the Pirates. Oh, yeah, that was bad. Lola wrote that.
Like the Brewers should be pumping them, and that'd put them into one of the playoff spots.
Bruins are not the same team. They might even trade Hader.
Jeez.
Did you see what he did the other night?
No.
He came in with a one-run lead, walked 5 players in a row.
Yikes.
Walked 5 in a row. Didn't give up a hit.
Nobody, like, aside from the Cubs, that whole division is just bleh.
It's
like
up for grabs.
The Cardinals, like the Brewers, the
Pirates,
Reds were supposed to be better. They're not.
Pirates, what, 3 games out from a playoff spot?
Which is
They could get in
bizarre.
there, be 10 games under.
Who's up next for them?
The Pirates?
Yeah.
Milwaukee tonight, game 4.
Oh, they finish it. Oh, it's a wraparound, huh?
It's a wraparound. Then they come home and play the Cubs.
That's goofy. Oh, Cubs, that's tough.
Yeah. Anthony Rizzo. Well, we don't need hubs. No, we don't need hubs. Yeah. We don't
You got
want to
the
listen.
Cubs, the Reds, and the White Sox on the next homestand.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's not bad. That's not bad. It'll be like a regular game. Nobody in the seats. No, I'm just joking. Okay, we got it. I got to ask you this hockey question.
Yes.
A couple of weeks ago, you said maybe October.
Yes.
Last week, I think you said early December. What are you saying today?
Right now, it's early December. That's the official from the league. It's for our schedule, at least. It's early December. They meet.
Is that an optimistic date?
We're going to try and be optimistic about it. Yeah, I think that's the easiest way to say that.
But you got a problem with the Reading team because they're in my state, right?
That's the biggest kicker. Is
Tom Wolf, take a vacation.
The good thing is that the league pretty well meets every week to figure out where everybody is, so that they can figure out who can play, who can't play. But yeah, I mean, you look at Reading, and what a fascinating state where, like, we talked about how our oldest plays volleyball, our youngest plays youth hockey, and the girls program here in Wheeling is 12 and under, and she's 13, so she's playing in North Pittsburgh this year. Well, you can only have 10 players per team because of the 25 people in the building rule. So you have 10 players per team, 2 coaches, 2 referees, and a medical person. There's your 25, and that's...
Where do the
that's
parents
that.
stay?
In the car.
And you got to go, what, to Cranberry?
Yeah. Yeah, when we drive her up to practice, we're just sitting in the car the whole time.
Wow, that's crazy.
Luckily, they have this thing called Live Barn, so we can watch the games.
But
I'll tell you what, the world of technology has really come through clutch with...
Yeah.
I mean, everybody talked about Zoom when we first went into quarantine and how great that was for offices and for people to get together with meetings and be able to see each other. But you have things like Live Barn for the hockey games, and then for the volleyball games, we do it through, I think it's Huddle, Hudl, and they do it for football as well, so through YouTube.
We didn't have Zoom in the 60s.
People are finding ways to assist so that people can watch kids play.
We didn't have Zoom in the 70s either. Of course, after a couple doobies, we'd be zooming, but whatever. But
yeah,
it's amazing today what you can do, even just on your cell phone, you know?
Oh, no question.
Do you have Zoom at work?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. When's the head coach coming in?
That's a great question.
Whatever.
He was supposed to be in a month ago, but he's not here yet.
Where's he live?
PEI, Prince Edward Island, Canada.
Okay. Where is that? Way out west?
That is in the east.
Okay.
That is in the Atlantic Canada.
Oh, all right.
That is, you take the Confederation Bridge from New Brunswick.
Oh, it's okay. I'd get lost.
It's a very expensive bridge.
Is it?
Yes.
What do you mean expensive bridge?
There's a toll to get.
Oh, okay.
I think it's when you leave the island.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, whatever. I just wanted to see you guys play Newfoundland, that's all.
I know.
I would have liked to make that trip.
That's the kicker, too, is when what the scenario is with the border
What do you mean?
for to allow teams to go up and back to play Newfoundland or Brampton.
Well, if you ever play them, can I go on a road trip with you? We could
Sure.
we could be teammates.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Roommates.
There you go.
No, it wouldn't be. I'd choke you. That's okay.
Especially if you hear me snore.
You snore?
Yes.
Oh, okay. We'll forget that.
There it is. Let's see. I'm looking for the.
You look for that, and I'm
There it
gonna-
is. The toll for the Confederation Bridge in PEI for two-axle vehicle.
Let me guess. $10.
No.
25.
No.
Oh, what is it?
$48.50.
Wow. Just across the bridge?
Just across the bridge. But it's only when you leave. You can go on the island for free.
Okay, well, that's what we learned today.
Yep.
So we're looking around December 4th?
That's the goal.
All right. That would be a full schedule, you think?
That'd be 72.
All right. Okay.
So we'll see. Like I said, they're meeting pretty much every week to discuss where everybody is. I mean, that's the fascinating thing. Like we talk about Canada's in their own planet because of the borders not being open yet, but every state handles things differently. Like I said, for even down to the youth hockey or the youth sports where we can have a family of 4 attend a home volleyball game in Ohio and the hockey can't exceed 25 people in Pennsylvania. So it's like, well, there's literally 2 completely different spectrums. It's fascinating to watch.
Well, it's amazing because I was in Walmart and Home Depot over the weekend, and you could hardly get any people in. It was so packed.
Gee whiz.
There was no social, whatever. All right. When I wave like this, I want you to say, hold on, wait a minute, slam dunk, all right?
All right.
When I go 1. When I go 2, you say, the ball's in your court. Ready?
Okay.
We're going to try and do this together.
All right, let's do it.
All right, you know, the NBA playoffs are here, and FanDuel Sportsbook has a
slam dunk
you don't want to miss. Right now, new users can get special plus 2,000 odds, any team to make the NBA Finals. I know DJ would probably select the Celtics to go all the way. But I just gave him $10. He can put that $10 for a chance to win 200 if they make it. This offer is even available on favorites like the Bucks and the Lakers because...
Oh, what was the second part of it? I just forgot.
The ball's in your court.
Oh, the ball's in your court.
Well, you just fouled out.
I fouled out.
The favorite options? Easy to use. Deposit options, brand you trust, types of bet, many promotions available for new and existing users. How do you join the FanDuel Sportsbook app team? Well, download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started. Be sure you sign up with the promo code WKKX so they know that we sent you. That's right. FanDuel Sportsbook promo code WKKX. FanDuel Sportsbook, more than one way to win. We have a disclaimer. I must read, because that's in big letters. Must read at end. 21 plus, present in West Virginia. New users only. Must wager on a designated boost market. Max bonus, $200. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, visit www. That's too many W's. 3 W's. .1800gambler.net. And the ball is in your court. And what else do you want to say? It's a
slam dunk.
There you go.
And don't go out of bounds like I did.
Yeah, okay. No, you've been suspended for a game, all right?
Okay.
All right. That's about it. Well, we had fun again. Huh?
We always do.
Are you watching the NBA other than the Celtics game?
Not as much. I'm still locked on to NHL.
Okay.
I'll glance every once in a while to see what's going on. I know that you've got Miami, Milwaukee's the other series in the East, which Milwaukee should roll. Boston, Toronto, which Boston looked fantastic in Game 1. They shot the lights out. What do you get? The Lakers and the Clippers have both advanced to the second round. You still have, Oklahoma City, Houston? It's 3-2, and I can't remember which way it is 3-2.
Harden will score 50 points and lose, probably.
Yeah. And then the other series is Denver and, Utah.
The Jazz.
Which I think is going Game 7 tomorrow.
And maybe some good news for the Celtics if they advance to the conference. Gordon Hayward's back. You remember when he got hurt 2 years ago and people thought the Celtics would stink?
Yes.
Well, remember, they went a long way without him.
Yeah, they did.
Because they put Marcus Smart. That's a great name, Marcus Smart. I should use that name, Marcus Smart on the Watchdog. Or Bill DeFabio Smart on the Watchdog. You like the latter, Lola?
Sure, Bill.
Yeah.
Sure.
You notice it took her a few seconds to think about that, DJ?
A little bit.
Hey, thank you for the food.
It's a lot to process, a lot to process.
Next week, we'll make a trade. Ray Bork starting lineup.
Perfect.
If I find him in a Bruins uniform.
All right.
All right. All right. I didn't know you had to go to my country, Pennsylvania, the land of
Yeah.
taxes, just to play hockey for your little one.
I know.
And you have to sit in the parking lot.
That's what I do.
Okay. And knowing you, you'll have fun sitting in a parking lot.
Hey, that's what we do.
You bring the wife?
We usually take turns.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good.
I usually get the Friday call.
All right. Unless there's a big trade or something, we'll be talking to you next Monday.
Sounds like a plan. We'll see who's in the conference finals.
Yeah. Coming up, Bill Hillgrove to talk about Demetrius Gore, who passed away at age 54, former Pitt standout, and John Thompson. Boy, I got a lot to talk about that coach. He was tough, but he was very good, but he always liked to bully the opponents. Who's going to pick on him, right? Standing over you with a towel over his shoulder. Bill Hillgrove coming up to talk about John Thompson. Right after we take a break, this is the Watchdog.
Are you struggling to make payments due to an unexpected financial obligation or loss of income? Are you receiving calls from debt collectors? Are you feeling overwhelmed and unsure of what steps to take next? Then you need the experience and expertise of attorney Tom McIntyre and his staff to help guide you through these temporary hardships. Want to hear more about how Tom can help? Then call 877-456-4155 and receive a free copy of Tom's ebook, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. Tom's ebook covers many questions people have about bankruptcy and includes interesting stories about people who tried to avoid filing and people who have filed for bankruptcy. We think you'll be surprised to learn some interesting facts about bankruptcy. Call 877-456-4155.
I'm Josh from Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. I hope you are staying healthy. We continue to respond to structural, fire, and water emergencies. We are combating COVID-19 with our highly trained staff and latest disinfection systems, providing preventative and reactive disinfection to facilities around the region, while working with area hospitals on isolation areas and air filtering. At Panhandle, we continue to follow social distancing and hygiene protocols. We are dedicated to our community, and together we will get through this.
Managing your business can be a minefield. One step in the wrong direction, and it can feel like everything you've worked for is at risk. I always had a vision of building a team, a crew of true professionals that can handle it all, tax, insurance, and investments. Big enough to partner with Encova, but personal enough to protect your interests on the home front. I'm Gary, and this is the Glessner Group.
Hey, I'm going to the kitchen. Can I grab you a Coors Light?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Huh. I never knew there was a zip line in my fridge. Hey! Hey, buddy! Yeah! You got 2 Coors Lights up there?
You got it! Always brewed down to 34 degrees. With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go, 2 Coors Lights.
Awesome, man. Wow, these are really cold.
That's the only way I deliver it.
Sure, I mean, you being a mountain climber and all.
Yep.
You probably need a pretty warm coat in there, huh?
Yep.
Hey, Ben!
Yeah!
Ask him if he has any nachos.
You got any nachos in there?
No.
Just icy cold Coors Light?
Yep.
That makes sense. It is the Rockies.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
This is Coach Neil Brown, reminding you that the best game day coverage is found right here on your official radio home for West Virginia University football.
The Watchdog.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Chris Lawrence. That's how things sounded last hour outside the governor's mansion when Governor Jim Justice pulled up to the Capitol. The governor got out of his vehicle and did speak to a group of high school football sports enthusiasts asking for changes in a controversial color-coded map that as of now will block 4 counties from playing high school football this coming Friday night.
All weekend long, I think you're going to be very, very happy with what comes out, but just trust me.
Those demonstrators included fans, players, and coaches from teams who will not be allowed to play this Friday. Under the map, those are Logan, Kanawha, Fayette, and Monroe counties. As you heard there, Governor Jim Justice got out and spoke to the crowd who was still dissatisfied with what he had to say. The governor due to speak during his COVID-19 briefing at 12:30 today. We'll have that live at WVMetroNews.com. In other news this afternoon, Lewis County authorities say a weekend fire fatality was suspicious. That blaze destroyed a vacant home on Main Street in Jane Lou's Saturday, and a person was found dead inside once the flames were out. Investigators now believe that fire was a result of arson. The name of the victim has not been released. There are reports of flash flooding this hour in Fayette County. High water has caused an upgrade in the Weather Service forecast from a watch to a flood warning. Most of the mountain counties in West Virginia are under a flood watch through tonight, with the forecast calling for 2 to 3 inches of rain. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. A search of the Elk River in Clay County has been suspended after authorities determined it's not clear if the person they were looking for on Sunday is even there. Authorities were called out Sunday afternoon to find a missing 12-year-old who was apparently kayaking on the river. The call indicated the discovery of an empty kayak that belonged to the child, but after several hours of searching, authorities say there's been no missing persons report filed on the boy and no evidence that he was ever in the river. Heavy rain has also made a river search much more dangerous. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Chris Lawrence.
He's set the standard for what radio shows should be. Listen to nationally recognized and award-winning radio host Howard Monroe. Weekday mornings 7 to 10 a.m. Only on the Watchdog.
I've got some big news. The bank finally came through, and I'm holding the keys to a brand new Chevrolet. Have you been outside? It sure is a nice night. How about a little test drive down by the lake? There's a place I know about where the dirt road runs out. We can try out the four-wheel drive. Come on now, what do you say? Girl, I can hardly wait to get a little mud on the tires. 'Cause it's a good night to be out there soaking up the moonlight. Stake out a little piece of shoreline. I've got the perfect place in mind. It's in the middle of nowhere. Way to get there, you gotta get a little mud on the tires.
I want to say a happy birthday today to Wayne Osmond. Why? Because Bill Hillgrove's favorite group was the Osmond Brothers. Right, Bill?
Put them a couple pegs behind Steely Dan, would you?
Yeah, okay. You remember that song, One Bad Apple?
But I agree with the philosophy.
Yeah. Always good to talk to you, Billy. And, everything's going to be real strange from now on with covering your Pitt Panthers and the Steelers. I'm just sad that I probably won't buy you lunch anymore at the Steeler complex.
Well, we understand that, they're going to really be strict with the COVID protocol. And that means that they're going to limit the number of people in the press box.
Yep.
In the broadcast booths, and I do know that when the teams go on the road, we will not go with them.
You're kidding me. I didn't know that.
Well, baseball's not doing it. Hockey's not doing it, so why should football be different?
Well, you have a lot of players. Okay. So you're going to have to perform what Greg Brown and the Penguin broadcasters do, just from a studio, right?
Yep, off a TV set.
That's going to be crazy. That's going to be crazy. How about Tunch and Craig? Are they going to travel?
No.
Okay.
They don't want us anywhere near the players, Billy.
Okay. Well.
And I don't blame them. I understand the whole bubble concept. Yeah.
I doubt if I see that Steeler locker room to do interviews on Wednesdays and Thursdays, whatever.
Everything's going to be Zoomy.
Okay. Well, you know, when a famous sports figure passes away, I try and do some research. I had Joe Gordon to talk about Bill Nunn, who was one of my favorite individuals, because I still remember him standing in line in the dining hall. I'm sitting at a table about 40 feet away. He jumps out of the line and come over, sit down with me, and ask me about my family. This is when I really didn't know a whole lot of people, but I got to know him. He was a gentleman and a half. And back in the 70s, he would find guys like Mel Blount, John Stallworth, you know, because all of his friends were black coaches with Division I teams or Division II teams, and they would call him and say, hey, I got this guy, Stallworth, I think he can play in the pros. Well, you know what? He helped the Steelers get Stallworth. He helped the Steelers get L.C. Greenwood. He helped the Steelers get Mel Blount. Just a fine gentleman. So my go-to...
Sam Davis is another one?
Sam Davis, yeah, number 57. So my go-to guy who knew him a lot longer than I did was Joe Gordon. You're my go-to guy because I'm going to kind of talk about two individuals who passed away that you're familiar with. One, he died at 54, Demetrius Gore, a solid player for Pitt way back in the heyday. And of course, you probably saw him and his team that liked to bully the other team, John Thompson. Let's talk about Demetrius Gore just for a second. Go ahead.
Well, he was an Iron Man. I do believe he had the sixth longest consecutive game streak in Pitt history. So he was a durable guy. He could do everything. He could play defense. He could score. He could pass the ball. He could handle it. A complete player and a really nice kid, as I remember. It hit me like a brick yesterday when I got the news. Probably about 3:30 in the afternoon is when I got my first text, and then it's sad. It really is for anybody, especially a terrific athlete, to go before their prime.
Okay. First black head coach to win a national championship. I admired him because, you know, he was a no-nonsense guy who would like to beat the hell out of you, especially during those great days of the Big East. John Thompson. Do you have a favorite memory? I'm going to ask you about a not-so-favorite memory, which we'll get to in a second, but talk about Coach John.
Well, John was a pretty special guy, and, you have to give credit where credit is due. He recruited a lot of great players, great centers at Georgetown, and sent them to the pros, and including his prime recruit, Patrick Ewing, out of Cambridge, Rindge, and Latin in Boston.
Yep.
And I think that recruit not only cemented John in basketball history, but cemented Georgetown's image in basketball history. And I was told by somebody close to the program that monetarily, Patrick Ewing being at Georgetown meant $12.5 million to their coffers.
Whoa.
Which is that's huge impact. And you know what? He was controversial. He didn't take any guff from anybody. I remember a female Pitt fan throwing a curse word in his direction. He broke the huddle, looked at her, and came right back with the same expletive. That's the way he was built. And his players, they played hard. They played really tough defense. Did they push the envelope? Sure they did. And the theory was that they'd commit so many fouls that the referees couldn't call them all.
Yeah.
And if you played Georgetown, you were in for a long afternoon if you didn't play tough.
Well, I got to see him play Pitt a lot in that small airline airport, what you call like a tunnel called Fitzgerald Fieldhouse, 7,000 people going crazy. And those Georgetown games were a little bit more exciting than when the Mountaineers would visit Pitt. But there was a game played at the Civic Arena. 17,000, Georgetown and Pitt, and involved, of course, Thompson. And I still think, do I see Demetrius Gore pounding somebody's head from the Georgetown team?
Sam Jefferson.
Yep. You want to talk about that fight?
Well, I remember it. I had to describe it. And, when you get into a basketball fight, you can't all of a sudden turn into a boxing announcer. But my vivid memory of Demetrius straddling Sam Jefferson, who was much taller, and getting, unbelievable number of right hands in on him. Now, he was called into the Big East office by Dave Gavitt, and so was Paul Evans, the coach. And Gavitt said to Demetrius, all right, explain to me your side of the story. He said, well, I hit Sam with so many rights, he begged me to start using my left.
That's a great What all started it, Bill?
Hey, he was a tough inner city kid from Detroit, Mr. Michigan in basketball. And like I say, he's done some things on the court that a lot of guys will never do. Averaged 16 points to lead Pitt as a sophomore. One game in the Rainbow Classic in Hawaii against Wisconsin, he scored 28 points in 20 minutes. That's hard to do.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That fight that took place, was Ewing part of it?
I don't remember Patrick being involved. I'm sure he was. Okay. But, you know, when those scrums happen, it's so tough to identify people. But when you see something like Demetrius on Sam Jefferson, it kind of stands out and is etched in your memory.
What started it, if you can take us through the process?
Probably a hard foul. But those two teams, they always played with an edge. And it made for great spectatorship.
Now, didn't Thompson pull his team off the court?
I don't remember that.
Okay.
I remember Thompson pulling his team off the court to protest one of the NCAA's academic rules. I remember that very vividly. What was it, Proposition 48?
48, yep.
And he felt that it discriminated against the black athletes. And, you know, his teams were comprised of largely black athletes. Mm-hmm. Critics of Thompson will say, well, wait a minute. He's standing up and walking off the court to protest things that hurt American black athletes. But then he recruited so many African and foreign athletes that you wonder where he was coming from. But, like I say, he was controversial, but a great figure, a great basketball coach. And if you talk to the Georgetown people, he was a great man and certainly helped that institution.
Did you know at the University of San Francisco he was a backup center?
No, he was at Providence.
No, he played at Providence?
He played at Providence. Not for Gavitt, for Joe Mulaney.
Joe Mulaney, okay. I'm getting Providence and San Francisco mixed up.
Yeah.
Okay. But, I remember, being from Boston, and, I remember I used to get the Boston Globe when I came back here that there was this kid, Ewing, going to Georgetown. So, and he was a very good high school basketball player. And, of course, became a great pro. And now Thompson was also a broadcaster, right? Didn't he work?
He did a lot of NCAA work for the network and some regular season stuff for the NBA. And he did a good job. I listened to him several times, and he sort of left his unpolished veneer, that hard edge that he brought to the college basketball court. He left that aside when he did his color, and it was quite entertaining.
Yeah, he was. Oh, those Big East days, Bill. They were so great. I wish I would have enjoyed the 4 or 5 years working with you and Dick Grote, because those trips to Manhattan and New York, the red carpet was there for Bill Hillgrove and Dick Grote, and I was just carrying your luggage.
Well, I'll tell you what, Billy, it was the greatest conference ever.
Yeah?
It was the greatest road trip in sports, going to the Big East for all those good games, and then that New York City sandbox to play in before or after a game. For the fans, it was wonderful.
Yeah. And, you had great relationships, great games with St. John's. Who was the guy that had the crazy sweaters?
Lou Carnesecca.
Yeah. You remember when he played Georgetown? Thompson came out and won one of those sweaters?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I also remember when Chipman was the coach, and we're up at the now Carnesecca Hall. It was Alumni Hall then. And all of a sudden, Roy can't see the court because Louie's standing in front of him. Oh, wait a minute. Louie's coaching box is way down there to the left. And he said, Louie, I can't see what's going on. You don't belong down here. He goes, this is my gym. I can do anything I want.
Yeah. Oh, well, I got some bad news for you, Billy. I can no longer tell the folks down here about Pitt because they're all big West Virginia fans. I wear a 13-9 shirt and everything. I ask them how many Heisman Trophy winners they've had, national championships. It's 0-0. We are now, you ready? Are you sitting down?
I am.
We're the radio affiliate of West Virginia Mountaineers.
Well, good. You'll have a lot of fun.
Yeah, but I'm still going to have you on.
Oh, okay. Well, then, as long as people can't throw rocks through the radio, I'll be good.
No. We're here. It's like a bunker, you know? And then I got my, my bodyguard Lola here. Nobody's going to bother me. You know what I mean?
You're well guarded and probably should be.
And, I've already have a relationship with Huggy Bear, Coach Huggins. But I want you to tell the West Virginia folks about what was it the time that Huggins was playing for West Virginia and he punched some guy from Duquesne?
B.B. Flannery.
You want to explain that one? Because I can't remember it. I was in college, I think.
Billy, I vaguely remember it. He certainly got the best of B.B. because Huggy can handle himself.
Yeah.
But I don't remember too much more about that, except that it caused ill feeling between the two schools. And when they were in the Eastern Eight together, Duquesne and West Virginia, I remember Jody Gardner, the coach, later, or maybe at the same time. It was the same time.
Same time.
Coming to the Civic Arena and refusing to walk through the tunnel out onto the court until an assistant went out and made sure that nobody was pointing a weapon at that tunnel.
Wow.
I remember that vividly, but other than that, I don't remember too much about the fight.
Well, I know Coach Huggy was a pretty good basketball player. Rough, tough, physical. He could have played for Georgetown, right?
Easily.
Yeah.
And you know what? And in all fairness to everybody, he teaches defense the same way.
Yeah.
Use your hands so much that they can't blow the whistle every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And so, his teams play tough, in-your-face defense, and the way he does it full court, it's for a team that doesn't handle the ball well, especially the big men, it can be a challenge.
All right. Hey, would you like to go over to Oldies calendar with me? We'll have fun. You ready?
Yeah.
Celebrating a birthday, a former Steeler, born on this date in 1983, Nate Washington. He played in Super Bowls 40 and 43, and they end up with the Tennessee Titans, right?
Yep.
All right, on this
could
date...
elevate for a little guy. Could elevate
Yep.
like very few receivers you'll ever see.
He could climb the ladder. On this date in 1955, would you like to know what was the number 2 record in the country?
No.
The Yellow Rose of Texas by Mitch Miller.
Oh,
How about number 1? Let's rock around the clock with Bill Haley and his comments.
I remember the comments. I remember Bill Haley. Yes, that was a heck of a record. Still is.
1963, Candy Girl was number 3 by the Four Seasons. Did you like the Four Seasons?
I brought them on at Carnegie Hall in Oakland.
Are you serious? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
By
when I wore my disc jockey hat.
Wow, you introduced them?
I did.
Wow, Billy. I have even more respect for you. Here we go. Candy Girl was number 3, but I forgot the number 1 record in country music in 63, Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash. Here's number 2. He was a comedian, Alan Sherman. Hello, Mudda. Hello, Father.
Hello, Father.
There's a great song he did. Yeah, he did a great song called I Hate the Beatles. All right, you ready for number 1?
Yeah.
Ed Sullivan made him famous in 63. He brought little Stevie Wonder on the stage, and Stevie did Fingertips Part 2.
Wow.
How do you like that one?
Stevie's a great musician.
Yeah. All right, let's move up to 71. I think that's where I met you in Boston, when Pitt played Boston College, and a friend of mine played for Pitt, John Chapman. Boy, I can remember that. I can remember that, Billy, but I don't know what I did last week. You ever have those kind of moments?
As I advance in age, yes, they become more frequent.
All right, number 3 was Signs by Five Man Electrical Band. Number 2 was John Denver, Take Me Home, Country Roads, a big hit in the state of West Virginia. Number 1, I don't know if you were a Bee Gees fan, but they had the number 1 song in the country, How Can You Mend a Broken Heart?
I played it on the radio, Billy. That's my disc jockey days.
Wow, I didn't know that. Okay. Is that the song they played at West Virginia when you beat them 13-9? Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I got to be careful. I still got to drive out of here. Here we go. 1979. Number 1 was the main event fight with Barbra Streisand. She was not one of my favorite people.
Great singer.
Yeah. Number 2 was After the Love Is Gone. I'm sure you liked Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I still like them. My second favorite group.
What's your favorite?
Steely Dan.
Oh, okay, that's right. I got to remember that. Next time we have you on, I'll have Lola play you something from Steeler Dan. We can do that. The number 1 country tune, and I think he mentioned the Steelers in this one, The Devil Went Down to Georgia, Charlie Daniels.
Oh, yeah. We just lost him this past year.
Yeah, great performer, great performer. 1987, You might remember somebody by the name of Madonna. She had the #1 hit. Who's that girl? And number 2, go ahead.
I had my sports hat on then, Billy. I'm sorry.
Okay. Number 2, you had to remember Los Lobos, La Bamba. No? Okay.
La Bamba was, the guy who died in the plane crash.
Yeah, but they did
Ricky Valens. Yeah, okay.
But they did another song which I like. I'm going to go back to 1947, and if you tell me you remember this, I'm going to pass out. You ready?
I was 7 years old.
Number 1 was by the Ink Spots. Ask anyone who knows. You didn't hear of it? That's good. All right, we like to do trivia. You played a lot at jazz at your station, right?
Well, through the years, yes, I've always preferred jazz over rock and roll, but that's just a personal thing.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I'm sure you were good at it like you are with broadcasting. You got to remind me, is this how many years with Pitt, 60?
Basketball will be 52, football will be 47.
Okay, all right. When is Pitt going to play at West Virginia? I got to know this for down the road. Do you know?
It doesn't start, the series doesn't start for a couple of years, and I believe the first game's down there.
Okay, what about basketball?
They're talking, but I don't know what came of it. You know, the problem with being in different conferences is scheduling is a mighty challenge.
Yeah.
Especially if they're scheduling, third and fourth grade kids right now.
Well, yeah. Well, I hate to end this conversation, but don't pass out, Bill. I'll still have you on the air. I love the Mountaineers. Bill? Don't tell any of my colleagues in Pittsburgh, will you?
Lola will guard you. I'm not sure about me.
Hey, if you came down here, you'd get along with Lola, believe me. She is one fantastic individual. And you talked about Demetrius Gore. Wasn't he a great basketball player in the state of Michigan?
He was Mr. Michigan.
Okay, did you know that, Lola? Yeah. All right. Hey, thank you, man. Always a pleasure talking to you. And when I saw the thing with Demetrius and John Thompson, I said, the man to call is my man, Bill Hillgrove. Billy?
Well, thank you, Billy. But things happen in threes. Let's not forget Lute Olson passed away this week, too.
Oh, one of the great ones. Yeah, okay. Yep, I forgot about that. Thank you. All right. And what was it, Cliff Robinson, too?
Clifford Robinson. I remember Pitt beating him on their way to one of the Big East titles.
The game where Georgetown got in a fight with Pitt at the Civic Arena, was that the Pitt team that did well but lost to Vanderbilt?
I believe that's correct, but I'm not sure about the year, Billy. I just know that Demetrius Gore was part of 2 Big East championships, the first 2 for Pitt.
And I get sick when I watch the Celtics because I'm a Celtics fan. And Kemba Walker.
Boy.
Hey, how about his teammate, Wanamaker? That's got to be strange for Wanamaker to be on the same team with the Villanova guy that beat his Pitt team.
Led the NBA in free throw shooting last year at 91%.
Wow. You can do it all and know it all. Thank you, Billy. I'll always cherish our friendship. You put a lot of stake on my family's plate by working with you, and a lot of good times on the road with you. And, of course, Dick Grote, one of my favorites, because we celebrate a birthday together, November 4th.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, man. We'll talk soon.
Likewise, Billy. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Billy. All right. I hope that doesn't get back to my friends in Pittsburgh. But I do love the Mountaineers. I loved the Mountaineers before we got their broadcast rights. I like going to Morgantown because I think that is the place for college football. There's no other atmosphere like going to a West Virginia home game. They party hardy. They love their team. They spend money on merchandise. It's just a great atmosphere. Whether you're working for Pitt or you're at Virginia Tech, it's a great atmosphere. A football game at Pitt, there is no atmosphere. Right now, there are no fans allowed. But you know what? Very few fans watch Pitt play when we didn't have COVID-19. So, and the thing about West Virginia, they don't have to compete for the entertainment dollar like Pitt has. Pitt's got to compete for the Penguin dollar, for the Steeler dollar, Pirates dollar, merchandise, you know what I mean? If Pitt was like Penn State, what do you do at Penn State on a weekend? I don't know. Milk cows, go out for walks in the country, or watch football with 106,000 other people, That's a moneymaker, too, if they don't. Oh, by the way, Lola, while we have about a minute, I guess the Big Ten's going to play some games? starting in December, January, maybe in dome stadiums.
That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of.
I agree with you. I
If
agree.
you're going to let them play, let them play.
Let them play outdoors. Who cares?
Well, but let them play now.
Yeah.
Why?
Why wait?
It's not going to change anything. The kids are already in were in protocol. I think other college teams have proven that, you can do this without a big degree of I don't know. No, shoot, I lost the word. But, they say that you're safest outdoors.
Yeah, I know. And then they're going to play indoors. Nothing makes sense because it's 2020. Who's coming up next? Butch?
Yeah.
Butch Maxwell, the M80s. Remember, the M80s have more Grammys than the Beatles. Remember, I have a degree in BS. I am out of here.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 90.